I'm actually looking forward to the Doomsday thing that they got planned. I mean, obviously it reeks of desperation. Like that's what everybody's saying, right? It's just so desperate. And it's like, yeah, of course it is. Cuz Disney has been shitting the bed left and right. And it's just like, yeah, I want them to course correct. I would rather they be desperate than constantly double down and make the same dog shit decisions that they've been making over and over again. Marvel's been up to some shenanigans. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? They're coming up with new Avengers movies. I mean, they had two slated already because originally they were going to do the Kang the Conqueror thing. But then that stuff with Jonathan Majors came out, which I don't really know what to make of. Was he cleared of his charges, or I honestly I can't remember. I think there's something odd about it. I think some of the charges or one of the charges stuck, and then Disney was just like, "Nah, we got to move on to somebody else." And should have looked into it more before I fucking brought it up. But the reason I mentioned it was more so because of the Robert Downey Jr. announcement, which I thought was interesting. I'm actually looking forward to the Doomsday thing that they got planned. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I'm curious what the consensus is among the people that listen to my dog shit show. But I thought it was pretty cool. It seems like they're going. It seems like with this, I mean, obviously it reeks of desperation. Like that's what everybody's saying, right? It's just so desperate. And it's like, yeah, of course it is. Because Disney has been shitting the bed left and right. And it's just like, yeah, I want them to course correct. I would rather they be desperate than constantly double down and make the same dog shit decisions that they've been making over and over again. You know? So, and casting Robert Downey, I mean, the concern seems to be that he's not going to be Victor Von Doom, but rather some Tony Stark variant, which I'm not convinced they will do because it just strikes me as too stupid. Because I think Victor Von Doom is too respected a character, like in Marvel lore. And I think to like make a movie where it's just like, oh, it's Doctor Doom, but it's not Victor Von Doom. It's just Iron Man. It's just Tony Stark who went a different direction, and he calls himself Doctor Doom for some reason, which makes no fucking sense to me. So it's just like, would they really do that? Because that seems to be the big worry. Like, I don't know if they'll just sort of lampshade it. I don't know if that's the right term, but just like, just sort of ignore the fact that it's Robert Downey Jr. again, and it's just like, you're Victor Von Doom now. Just, I mean, I guess they got to do something to explain the fact that he looks so similar to Iron Man from the previous phases, whatever. But I'm willing to give it a chance. I want to see what they do with it. Because, I mean, the guy's a good actor. And I think he could do, Robert Downey Jr. could do Victor Von Doom really well. And I think he would play it in a way that's not simply repeating the Tony Stark performance. Like, I think he's smart enough. He's definitely a smart guy, and he would be smart enough to, like, take a different approach with this new character. And we might not even see his face is another thing. I imagine the only time we might see his face is if they do an origin thing with Victor Von Doom, where you see him before the accident that like scars his face, and he wears the mask forever from that point. But then there'd probably be like a scene near the end where they have a big Chungus fight, and his mask falls off, and he's like, "My face. Now you see how grotesque I am." And I think he just has like a little cut on his eye or something. I think that's the lore, isn't it, for the character? But he's just so vain and ashamed that he wears the mask. I mean, there's a bit of overlap with Tony Stark. I'm curious that if they'll do anything with, because like in the comics, I think Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom were college roommates. So I don't know if they'll do something with that and like somehow tie that with the fact that the same actor is playing both characters. I don't know what you could do with that exactly. I mean, I'm curious what they'll do, and I'm willing to give them a chance to see what they come up with, because maybe it'll be something interesting. Because they at least got the scripts for the films are now out of the hands of the guy who wrote Multiverse of Madness, which I thought was a big pile of dog shit. But now they got Stephen McFeely back, who co-wrote the Infinity War and Endgame. And I really enjoyed Infinity War and Endgame. I thought they were great. Infinity War more so. But I thought Endgame was all right and satisfying enough and fun and everything. So, you know, if it's anywhere close to the quality of of Infinity War and Endgame, and you got the Russos back directing, which I think they did a great job with those. I thought they did a great job with those movies. I haven't really. I mean, I've talked about this. I've talked about parts of what I'm saying on other shows and stuff, but for people who are unaware of my thoughts on this, I haven't been a fan of the Russo brothers filmmaking outside of their Marvel stuff. Like they did a movie with Ryan Gosling that I really wanted to like, but it was just for the amount of action that was in it, I found it really boring. Like the script needed work. I think Chris Evans was in it too. He was like the bad guy. He had a mustache or something. I forget the name of the movie. But yeah, I've just been underwhelmed by the movies they put out outside of Marvel. But I know they're good at Marvel projects when Disney gives them like a script and a storyboard to work with. Like they are very good at turning that into a film that works. So I'm glad that they got those guys back for Doomsday and Secret Wars. And I'm glad that they got one of the writers of the last two Avengers movies back for this. So I think they might. I think there's the possibility that they could do a good job with it. And I'm just looking forward to see what they come up with. But I mean, like, if they do pull some like Tony Stark variant bullshit with Doctor Doom, then that will be. I'll be like, that's fucking dumb. Why did you do that? And I'll be really disappointed. But I'm not convinced that that's what's gonna happen yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And another reason I'm looking forward to it is because doing a Doctor Doom story and the Secret Wars story back to back reminds me a lot of the final season of Spider-Man the Animated Series, which I used to watch religiously as a kid. And I love that show, and I love that last season. Because that actually did the whole multiverse thing way before the movies did. Like the multiverse and multiple Spider-Man thing. That's all in the last season of Spider-Man the Animated Series, which was actually pretty badass. Madame Web, too. She was in that last season. Maybe the season before that she was introduced. I can't remember. But it was actually a really cool arc. Because, like, I can't remember how Madame Web comes into play, but she does, and then she sort of makes portals for Spider-Man to travel to, and then the Beyonder gets involved, and he sort of puts him on this battlefield which is basically Secret Wars from the comics, where Spider-Man has to build an army of heroes He needs to pluck them out of existence on Earth and just build an army to like fight alongside him. And I guess the idea of the battlefield is to just figure out who the ultimate warrior is. It's like this cosmic showdown, basically. It's a pretty badass cartoon, and Doctor Doom eventually got involved. He's one of the people on the. Actually, I think he might actually be recruited by Spider-Man as one of the good guys initially. I can't remember. Because I think Doctor Doom is sort of morally ambiguous, I think, sometimes. I can't remember. I don't know if they'll strictly make him a bad guy, and I guess they would in the movies. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. Anyway, it just the what they seem to have lined up for the new Avengers movies reminds me a lot of the cartoon that I used to really enjoy. So if it's also anything like that, then I might enjoy it. So that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to it personally. I think a lot of people just were. It just feels everybody's always so divided on everything. Like, you know, a new movie comes out and it's like it's either amazing or dog shit. It's just like, for Christ's sake, is there just no middle ground anymore? Can something just be okay?